Good evening, guys. How are you?
Hey, Shorty.
What's up, Short?
Hello. How's everybody's day?
Man, did you see what I got you?
I did. I read the message just now. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. You didn't have to do that, man.
I was there. I mean, that's usually where I'm at, anyways.
No, really. Yeah.
I took pictures of their displays and stuff, so I'll send them to you because they got, I don't know, anything gaming just about you can imagine.
Yeah. Well, appreciate it. Hopefully, you guys had a good day trading today. I took a couple of trades. I was not 100% like on the screen to do my sharing and focus, but I did play the levels as we honestly identified them the night before. So if you guys looked at it, when the open started here, hopefully you guys were kind of ready for it. We are already below that Thursday POC, and I don't know if you guys remember, but I mentioned if we break the opening high this morning, that there's a strong chance that we are probably gonna go higher, right? And they were not able to do that. So I would say that's pretty good. And then, the bounce here off the bottom, right? So a lot of us expected the 44.15. Doesn't even know why I was pretty sure that we're going to hit 44.15 today.
I guess it's like the weekly 80% rule, right?
It was the weekly 80% rule, and if you look at the levels, was there much in between? You didn't really have any major levels, so their magnet had to be the POC. And if you reread the PowerPoint, there's something that says if you're unable to hold prices higher and accept higher value, which is why I put this, let me delete this so you guys can see it. This right here, right? The bulls needed to develop value here, meaning they had to agree peanut butter is not that expensive here, so let's kind of build a value above. And did they do that? Not really. They went twice above the previous week value area high. And if you can't hold previous week value area high with convincing volume up, right? I would say that this is not really convincing volume up here. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree, but the volume is not really growing here. If you look at it between the couple of days, I don't think that's convincing move up. And when the breakout happens on the major like weekly value areas on the down volume, what's the rule? When you have a breakout, it's in the PowerPoint. A reversion to the mean is highly possible when the volume is not there. So that's where this happened, right? They didn't really give you a retest here unless you count these little ones very close. But they didn't give you a true retest here. They came back to the mean, they checked it out, and then I don't know if anyone took this long, but I was long in here, and then we expected that 25, 27, and then there was a little bit of more supply here on higher level, right? So I'll show you guys. So why is this? I was like, man, why is it marking 1045 here? Freaked me out. That was a different line. So if you guys look here, they came back, but then they pushed it back all the way to the high of the day. They didn't really close above, so it's kind of like an open drive setup for potentially more downside. I'm on RTH only now here. But this was a good long here, and on a smaller time frame, if you guys looked at it, this is where, I was long here, but I didn't really get stopped out. Did anyone notice when I mentioned I'm adding more here?
Yep.
Yeah, I added more here. I added one more ES here, and this was, a higher target. And Ramirez, Ashley, I believe, you said I wasn't sure where, I got in, but I didn't know where to go. I mean, if you got in here, it really never gave you a reason to get out. And if you look at this whole sell-off, for instance, if you just grab it from the top, always use this. Don't shy away from this at least. So look, if you got in here, where's your first exit?
First HVM.
So here's your first one. And did anyone mention 25, 27? Okay. There was the first one. Here's your second one. I would say somewhere around here. And think about it. If you got, let's say 15, you get 10 points and, here you're getting, I'm sorry, a little less. You get 10 points here, and then you get a little bit more up to here. Hold on one second, guys. Okay. Does that make sense how I got that? Let me make sure it's not extending. Does that make
That was
sense?
just from the top.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
I'm
just
looking from the top.
FVP from the top.
From the top to bottom, nothing else. I want to know where are the latest active shelves of sellers.
Okay.
And you see, the little gap down, and then they kind of protected that the whole day here. Just wicked about, tested that liquidity, and came back down. So does that make sense? At least how you could have played that?
Yeah, the long makes sense. How did you know to go short right at 42, like right at the open?
Yep. So take a look at this. I can't remember. You guys got that? All right. Let me delete this. All right. What's anyone if you wanna take a stab on why I went short, and then I'll give you my reasoning. And if you nail it, that's great. If not, it's okay as well. So this was the open here, and I was pretty much short, like right here.
Well, I don't know. For me, Shorty, when I charted this off of SPY, and when I looked at the weekly volume profile, I saw that there was a weekly volume profile, a node there, like towards the top of today's range, and I saw that we were unable to break above it. And at that point, I was thinking that it was a good point to short, but yeah, this is looking at it from SPY's perspective.
Okay. Anyone else looking at this chart? Here you go.
Yeah, I mean, I went short also, and my reasoning was I went short at 40.5, and my reasoning was that we couldn't take out that London high off that open, and we started to pull back right away.
Yep. So if you look here, right? I mean, if you pay attention to volume, and if you go on, 3-5 minutes, whatever it is that you trade time-wise. So let me go back here. So here's your open. What do you notice about the volume?
It's not much.
Decreasing.
Man, this is probably the worst volume I've seen at open. I mean, go back to the other days, right? Let's just let's do this. Let's go back to session breaks. Let's go on this. So here's the open, and then start looking at the open volumes here versus the volume here. Here's your volume right here. So let's just... That volume here, I mean, if you look at the selling volume, I would say it's pretty aggressive, probably double, roughly double here. And then if you look a little bit more, it's really, the buying's not really been strong in the morning. And then when I looked at the volume anomaly, I mean, if you look here on 3 minutes, look at the volume anomaly here. You're coming up, and immediately on the second candle of the open, you have absorption happening. Then you have this, and you have this giant sell-off here. And then when this indecision candle, I'm like, ooh, like there's a lot of absorption happening, and it's a lower candle than this one where they had the absorption here. So between this one and this one, you have lower highs. So I was like, seems like they're weaker and weaker. And my stop loss was about high of the day, right? If they made that, then I'm out, right? When it's a highly good setup, it's just that it didn't work in our favor. And then when this started happening, I was like, man, they really got to go to 44.15. There's not much stopping them. And that was the reasoning. It's almost like an open drive, because this open drive was too weak here. It wasn't really like candle, formation of the open should have been where they have a candle like this and stacking, right? It should have been more like this if you wanted aggressive. But when you have a wick on top and a small candle here and your volume is decreasing, I don't trust that, right? So that was the reasoning behind that trade. Make sense? Or
Yep, thank you.
Yes.
and Honestly, I'm not saying I'm like, ooh, experienced, but that instinct and experience comes with repetition, and you're not going to get that overnight. Could I easily been wrong here? Yeah. But if I was wrong, I wasn't really risking a lot of points. If you think about it, the high was 42.5. Catching it here somewhere is not that bad. Okay. Does anyone recall this line here? Why we put it? Where we bounced? This 44 here. Does anyone know why we put this here?
It was at 33, right? That was like
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the node.
That's correct. Yeah, I was making sure
shelf.
somebody's paying attention. Yeah, that was the beginning of the shelf, and you see it here, right? And that's where they held it. They bounced it a lot. Now again, we are below it. Most likely, you're headed here to at least 21 overnight. Yeah, there's the head and shoulders, but I don't care too much for patterns. So obviously now, if they clear the liquidity below POC, what is your expectation? If they go below?
Continue going further low.
Okay, well, what level?
Previous week value area low.
Yeah,
That node.
Exactly, and this is not a node that you want to short on the first one. Meaning, there's going to be buyers here to show up, and I guarantee you. Yes, there's POC here, which is equilibrium. It's much higher, right? There's a lot of buyers and the sellers existing, but there could be new time frame buyers coming in here that find value, right? You have some of Bank of America analysts calling out the best bullish time ever to buy stocks here. To give you an idea, if you buy NVIDIA right now, it's going to take you 40 years based on their earnings to get your money back. So, and same shit happened in 2006 and 7. They kept calling all these great stocks and companies and AI, whatever, right now. But, if your multiples are so high on PE and price to earnings, and it just doesn't add up, right? Of course they're going to call because they need liquidity. So think about it where you're buying long stuff. There's stuff that can be bought. UNG is one of them that we talked about last night, but be smart. I think the liquidity is being taken out of the market, right? Because the bonds and the TGA balance, and I think it's growing. That means the drainage is going to start soon, and it's going to accelerate. So I would not short anywhere close to here. You're welcome. If you find it great value to short, that would be great. But losing, I would say, let's say if you lose this level right here, which should be, it's not fair. This one right here. So losing 43.99 does give you some chance and room to go down, and you could probably catch this 43.81. Know that there's a level here. So there's two yellow lines in between, that's free space. If you enter this, right, high chance you're going to fill it quickly. And usually, like I said, it's a candle or two that these get filled. Just like some of these got filled as well. Here, you see it.
Shorty, where did you say you would not short?
I would not short at the PWPOC here. I would not be looking for, until we make a lower low, break this failed auction here, right? It will give you a retest on smaller time frames, then take a short. I wouldn't play the momentum breakout on this.
I see what you're saying. Oh.
This right here, I don't want to see this and I enter. I want to kind of see small and then see this. Because you have, good 35 points between this range here and here. So I would kind of watch for that. Okay. Any questions there? Anyone check daily volume profiles?
Yeah, it looked like a double distribution day most of the day, and then I guess they built a lot more volume up top.
Well, here's regular. Right. So here, I would say it looks almost like a perfect D besides this buying that occurred here. So if you're a bear, what needs to happen here?
You need to go and break that lower node.
You need to get this node out. You need to, once you break this level here, this is where you can be like, okay, it seems like they're coming a little bit, bears are coming into control here. Because there's a tiny little node here, right? But also the single prints that you see here, if they really want to turn bearish, this single volume node stuff needs to be taken out. Like right here. Okay? And then, if you look here, besides that, you don't really have much till you come to this, I would say 43.57, which is also a VPOC here. And I would, if I was to let's say short this, high odds are if you don't hold this, that where we're going. If you break this 43.80, what are the odds? Where do you go? What's the high probability of the level?
Are you going to definitely hit the VPOC?
That's a high
Or
probability.
possibly there may be a slight delay at the daily high prior. You see where the VPOC is the day prior to that, the high of the day might give it a little bit of resistance.
Yeah, there's a shelf here, right? So there's a chance here, but honestly, in terms of fixing this, remember why this gap is here? Does anyone recall?
So when we switch contracts,
Yeah, and what did I say about the contract switch?
they always get filled.
They always get filled. It's not rarely. If you go back, this area here is getting filled. So if they lose this level here, depends what you're playing, right? It's futures, you don't want to swing too much. High chance you're going into this area here. Very, very high chance that you're going to be headed into this area here. So
Shorty, that's if you lose the priority POC or the priority value low.
Losing this POC and this equilibrium really will trigger. And if you look at this shelf here, I would say it's a decent size liquidity, but look at the magnet that's sitting. I mean, I have it extended. I can't even see it. I mean,
That's a couple days out unless we have a waterfall of a day.
Honestly, I think this happens.
We could do it in one day.
Well, we
What's
could.
today,
It'd have to be a 120 point drop.
Is tomorrow the VIX expiration? Tomorrow, 21st?
I thought it was today.
No, I thought it was on Wednesdays. Well, we can check, but
Yeah, tomorrow AM, yeah.
so there's going to be a lot of volatility being released tomorrow, right? Don't be shocked if you fill this 42.96, for instance, tomorrow.
And you have Powell testifying too, so.
Yeah, well, that adds fuel to the fire. Just be careful when the speakers speak that you're not in too many trades. And even the slippage can get you, because it really doesn't work sometimes. Okay, so far, if you look at, the ETH session here, it kind of looks like a D shape at the bottom shelf here. If you go on regular trading hours, it's a whole different story here. What's the story here? It's actually a pretty good one.
Could it be like a short covering at the bottom?
It's a short cover, yeah. But if it wasn't a short cover rally, what would you expect to be done?
If it wasn't,
Yeah.
wasn't a short cover rally.
I'd expect it to close over the POC that's formed.
Yeah. You should have closed that. Should have closed above it. What this is a short cover rally, and people that were, either went long here. What do you think they did here?
Covered.
People that went long here, they drove here. You had the sell-off here, which drove the price down. What do you think these people did here at the end?
Take profits.
They sold
They
again.
took profits.
Yeah.
This is profit taking. This is definitely profit taking, right? So on the bull side, what would you want to see, to become a bullish a little bit more.
To take over the
At least fill the gap.
Thursday POC.
Well, you really want to see this, and this
Yeah, you need to get
becomes
that gap filled.
this becomes your
Yep.
area. You already fixed this one going down, and you have a little gap here. So if you reclaim this tomorrow, high odds you're going to catch 53. And I think from everyone here, that's 20 points. Most of you should be done with 20 points, right? So that's something I would watch. And if you guys need me to write this up, I can definitely write it up. But that's as simple as I pretty much said. This is one. Here, on the short side here, it's I just don't feel confident playing momentum on equilibriums, right? And I never really liked playing momentum on equilibriums. On the value area lows, I do like it. Do you guys know why? Why would I like the breakouts on the value area lows versus POC?
Is that the bottom of the range?
Yeah,
Stronger conviction. Yeah.
Because you got rid of all the buyers
We
at
didn't
Right.
like the
levels that
value.
kept it at that level and higher.
remember who can move through key resistance like value area lows and highs? Do you remember who will be able to?
Initiative.
Jamie Dimon.
Initiative.
Initiative, really, really strong initiation is required to break it. So if you do get a nice candle, now I'm not talking about, like if you look at this, would you say that this is a strong break here? I'm on 5 minutes. I wouldn't say this is a strong. If this candle was all over here, then I'd be like, okay, well that's good. But even as you're going down here, you're seeing some slowdown, especially here. They came back, they stacked, they made a little bit of higher lows, here. And then they had this giant candle, and I instantly, as soon as they did this, I said, this is a buy again on the retest. It's easy. They just going to add more, and then they drove it up high, right? So the same thing, on equilibriums, when you're trading here, you really don't want to trust the break like this one here. And if you look at the volume, remember I'm on 5 minutes, I typically trade 3. If you look here, right, look at the absorption as you're coming down. The volume is going down as you're breaking this level, and then look at the next candle. And here's your what? What is this?
Stopping volume.
Stopping volume.
It's your stopping volume. And if you don't do anything, if I remove all of this here, let's hide this. Just take a look at it. Look for green volume candle that has a little bit of bigger wick. Now look at this. You broke here, and they're most likely going to come back at some point to retest it. And look what it. Right.
Shorty, interestingly enough, that level on SPY was the previous week value area low, whereas here it's ES POC weekly.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't typically chart SPY, but that's a good confluence between like ETFs and futures, especially if you have NQ bouncing at some major levels. So if you guys look at this, let me just go on. I don't have a chart on this chart here, but here we can do something easy here. Just hide these squares. Wish there was like a shortcut button for this. Let's go to options for a moment. So for me, when I look at a chart like this, and we covered this last night as well, when I see a consolidation as such as like this one here, this becomes, this most likely going to be a POC where price is driven to just because the magnet, just because this is where the fair price was. And we know for a fact, if I even do this, did the POC move from here?
Wow.
POC did not move. Now, it stayed back, right? And if I go here on, if I go on 68, well, where's my value area high of this run up? I mean, we are far.
Beginning of that gap.
Yeah, we are very far from value, guys. And the value did not really chase here too much, right? They stayed back. The big boys stayed back. If the big boys stayed back, then who the hell was buying?
Retail.
Mostly somebody that's gonna regret it. And
20
if you
followers.
and if you just take a look at this, like on this time frame here, I mean, I'm on 3 days here. I don't see any great spikes in volume. I'm not seeing anything that. I mean, look at this. I don't see much. Obviously, I don't see a lot of red either here, but constant buying here. And funny enough, you know, if you just look at this, look where we are. Right.
I don't know if you have it right now, but the 4-hour cloud was closed also.
Yeah. 4-hour cloud, I'm sure it was, but that's more of an intraday. But if I was to find like a weekly cloud and we got inside and we were pushing up into it, and that's 4 hours meant more for like day trades. So it can alternate between open and close with that higher, stronger pushes, right? So I'm not saying it's bad. It's just for intraday, it's great. For making a conclusion for the next day, it's not that good. So if you're trading this, let's say from here to here, let's say from here to here, where would you expect the POC to be? I'm saying from this spot right here to this. Where do you guys think volume is?
14.6.
Okay. The node's there. So if you're shorting this, where should you go long on NQ?
3.
13,400.
So you have this level, but remember, this might not happen. I mean, this is 13.2. You will need 2,000 points shaved off. They're going to bounce at every one of these levels. There's going to be a bounce here. There will be. But now your job as a trader is that if you look at, I'm just going to focus in on this area here. Well, let's just mark this level on the NQ right here and let me know what happens tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, by Friday. Mark this. And if we come to this level, right here, you become a buyer. Why is that, anyone?
Because whoever bought on this run up will have to defend that area.
Yeah, exactly. So you had a consolidation right here, right? And then you had an imbalance. Then you came back and then you spent a lot of time consolidating here. Right? So this is a big level. And then you had a markup up to here, a little bit of consolidation in here. So you're probably going to do something like this. And then if you lose that, you most likely hit this shelf, 13,872. And this is a shelf where, you know, I would say at this point here, you want to be setting up for some long opportunities. As people get a little bit bearish at this level, you're looking for a little bit of a longish bounce, like a strong bounce from here. Because this was a nice consolidation here. Because even if you extend this all the way to here, so you're going to get a pretty decent consolidation. I mean, this is 47 days here. So I wouldn't write that off. It's going to break it as easy. If this level was to be lost on easy way, well, that gives you, a lot of, I would say, information on what kind of sellers you're dealing with. If you can break that without a bounce and continue down, then you don't want to be in the way too much trying to long something. Till you're arriving again at a major shelf and you try if you're wrong. You have a stop loss. But in order to get that confirmation, what could one use to see that it's a good setup and you potentially go long?
Like stopping volume, like that kind of thing?
Stopping volume is one answer. The next thing that I will spend a lot of time with people, especially, that have done volume profile, is probably the footprint charts. So the next thing that I will focus on for at least a couple of weeks is the footprint shorts and how do you use it as you're approaching support, as you're approaching resistance. What are you expecting to see on the footprints? And once you, let's say, you know, on ES today, if you look at it, so let's see here, 5. If you go here, right, and as you're approaching here, we talked about the delta in chat, right? If the delta is positive, right, if you're coming in here and the delta is positive and you see absorption, that's not a bad level to get in, right? Because, you know, it's telling you there's buyers happening, the delta is positive. If people are buying at the ask for it versus at the bid, right, that thing matters, right? So it's going to create some information for you in terms of the aggressiveness of buyers and sellers. So if you're able to see the footprint charts along with key volume, or let's say if you use market profile like TPOs, time price opportunity, you really have the market information all at your hands to make a rather high probable decision in your favor. So, and I think once we conclude the footprints, you know, education, I think a lot of you guys will have a much better idea on how to buy or sell at demand or supply. So I'm excited to kind of put that together and, you know, see, you know, who takes the next step. You know, you have the volume profile. A lot of you guys are proficient in it, right? You understand it, you know how to use it. Sometimes you guys, I notice some of you forget, you know, once you have a sell-off like we did today, you forget to look at the price action and, you know, where is the sell-off? Where did it happen? Where are the shelves? What can you expect to see? And I think that will come naturally as you start trusting the levels a little bit more. But you have to use the tools, especially if, you know, this is today's profile. If you had price action, I would say in this area before and there was a rejection, then you're able to add more market generated information that's recent and especially the current. You see where the sell-offs are, and I think it makes it like a lethal weapon in trading when you're able to see the picture and what the market's telling you, right? I mean, this is a classical, you know, kind of buyer's exhaustion here, and then send it higher. Now, if the buyers can't defend this, we're going to test the, you know, where did they come from? And most likely, if you just kind of zoom out here and go here, you know, if you look at this, there's some levels where they've been. You know, you clean this one, most likely go 43.56, what being covered moments ago. Then you lose that one. Then you have this, I don't even need this VPOC to be honest. I know it's most likely headed here. I would say high probability of visit 42.88 soon. And you'll have some buyers there. It'll be a stronger bounce, probably somewhere into the 68.2. I wouldn't be shocked even if they pushed the POC from here to here. Okay. And then you lose that. I would say this is their target. At 44.40, I don't know if you guys, did anyone do the homework and take a look how far this 41.40 goes?
The 13 months.
I think it's like August of last year.
I'm going from February 20th. And where's the level?
Wow.
Guys, 3 years worth of data. This is the level where we're at now. We're coming back to this level. We're going to test this. I'm pretty positive that we're going to be testing this level here. And then don't be shocked, right, that we visit the green line. If you guys remember 4,600, I think 4,685 is doable, this area right here. And then if you can't build value here, right, I'm pretty sure they'll spike above. Then you have painful road to a massive, at that point, accumulation that's happening, right? You would have this value area here that's basically being played. You got rejected, you got bought up. Once you go here, I'm not going to say it, but, you know, markets can consolidate for a very long period of time. I mean, here's your, you know, 14. Let me show you here. Look at this right here. almost like, oh, well, I don't know if this looks like a bull run, not really. Here's a good consolidation here. I mean, this was long. Markets can stay in consolidation for long periods of time. Can you have bullish trends in the market? Yeah, this is a bullish trend in the bracketed market. This is a bearish trend in the bracketed market. So people confuse brackets and inside what happens inside the brackets, and that's just lack of understanding the market and the picture it's telling you. So, okay. Any questions on ES? Is everybody clear on tomorrow?
I'm good. Just waiting for the dump.
We're going to get potentially a bounce in the morning, right? And then they will go higher. I will look for a rejection somewhere around here tomorrow. 42 first. And go from there. But this should be a really good level. Like, this is your pivot for tomorrow. It's 40.53 here is your pivot. Alright. Well, I don't know if catching is on, but I did record this. As you guys know, I'm super slow with technology. So I'm going to upload this on YouTube. I'll share the link once it's done. And we'll go from there. I'll see you guys tomorrow after tomorrow my baby has an appointment. An 18-month-old, so.
Hey, Shorty, where we're at right now is 44.37.
Mhm.
The high at the top of the period we've actually hit is 43.75. Is this a good short to go because we're under the forming POC? Actually, we're maybe slightly above.
I would not short this. Where would you short it?
Rejection of the forming value area
Yeah.
or break of the POC.
Yes.
The forming POC.
If you lose this, you have some momentum here, but it's not a lot of points. It's really tight. Usually when you have a day off in the market, the first day is going to be slow, and the day after that picks up. So Monday we were off. Tuesday, I would say, I know this looks like, oh my God, we had a sell-off. Is this really a sell-off?
No.
That's nothing, right? This is just, they can bounce from here, guys. They can go. That's why, I say the 53 is super important for sentiment. I wouldn't short here overnight in this price action. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Jordy, did you cover Tesla by chance?
It's going to 304.
Yeah, okay. I got 290s for next month.
It's going to 303.25. So in Tesla, if you guys remember, we talked about this as well. I'll rechart it real quick. If you guys recall, we are aware of this level. I don't know if you guys remember, but we are well aware that they're going to potentially bounce here. Does anyone remember that? It's one of the
I remember you covering it.
So if you guys will look. So they lost this shelf right here, and then if you look, this was their last chance kind of for a bounce. And this is, they lost this, they felt it here, man. They were going all the way back to 100 and below. But then all of a sudden, they're going to be sharing charging stations, so nothing really to do with their cars because their demand for the cars is really low right now. They're shipping cars from China to Europe now to sell. So let that sink in for people that are bullish. I think, this supply right here that we have. I'm sorry?
Long term, not bullish for sure.
Yeah, short term, this is going right here, like I mentioned, 303.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this to you guys about 4 weeks ago. I don't know what level it was. Once we broke that level, that there was a high chance you're going to go to this 303. I think it was somewhere, I don't know, I think it might have been here. I'll look at my chart, but most likely it's probably this shelf here. You break this 300s. So I would expect some fireworks in this area here. I would expect this to go down. And for New York people, this is not rocket science, right? You're looking for previous supplies or fresh supplies that haven't been tested, right? So if you look here, right, if you were to grab volume profile on some of this, profile somewhere be here. Then you have this one, and that has key volume, and then you have a major consolidation here, and we said like 303. Once they come here, right, ideally, if they go above and then they go below, this is the start, and they're probably going to come back to this level right here, which is like 180. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
And then on, if you look at the time frames here, so that the volume profile is gonna, it's gonna have shelves, right? And you see here, there's consolidation here, there's markup, there's consolidation here, there's markup, and this whole thing here, people call triangles. This is just them creating liquidity and then popping higher. And then if you draw this, you're gonna probably see the same, right? If you go here to here, there's the liquidity, and then a giant high volume node here. And then of course you don't see any. This is just massive selling here at the top. So and I would expect them, if they're gonna do anything, it should be if they arrive. Watch this. It's gonna be interesting if they arrive here. Okay. Anyone else? Anything?
What about Microsoft?
Yeah, that's a blue sky. This was a great buy. I'll never get that again. Let's see. Man. If it can hold at 320, it's probably targeting to go 386 and 433. If you look at this right here, right, so this is where the liquidity really resided here, because you had this massive pin bar here. Usually, it says that the VIX do the damage, the body tell you the story. And if you look here, you have the sell-off. Now look at the candle here. Does anyone know what is this candle called?
Is that a tweezer top?
Not really.
Dark cloud.
Say it again.
Dark cover cloud.
Oh, it is, yeah. There's another name for it.
Pin bar. Pin bar.
No, it's not a pin bar. Pin bars are, remember, this is a pin bar. This is a pin bar right here. This one is a pin bar here. All right, that's an indecision. Anyone else? Any ideas? Anyone heard of bearish kickers?
Oh yeah, bearish kicker. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, just look it up, see if it resembles. If this candle was a little bit lower here, Bean, I would consider it tweezer top on 3 days. But 3 days hasn't been, if you look at it, hasn't been completed yet. It has 18 hours left. But yeah. Have you ever heard of bearish piercing candles? Does it look like this?
Yep.
There it is.
So if you take 50% of this, and you change this, keep 50%, you don't care about the rest. Did we go below it? We went below it.
Did we a little? I don't know.
Yeah.
It really needs 342 for any sort of upside.
If you want upside, you have to take this 342.
Okay.
I would not trust this until we reclaim it. But yeah, this is a bearish piercing candle. I mean, it's a textbook bearish piercing candle.
Okay.
And then, I mean, the weekly is going to look nasty. Does anyone know what's this pattern so far? Yeah, you got to work on patterns. It's good to know them. Doesn't mean you trade it solely on it, but you have to understand. Anyone know what this is?
Is that like the Doji Star?
Okay, but there's
Is that the abandoned baby?
abandoned babies above. You would have a candle.
Yeah. And you have a gap.
You would have this. You would have a wick that doesn't fill this, and then usually once you break the low of this candle, you get flush. Has anyone heard of bearish Harami candle?
Oh, Harami. Yeah. Very sure.
Something like that. I don't know if you guys can see it. It looks bad. I like these.
It's just like an inside bar, basically, right?
It's basically an inside. They call it the pregnant setup. Right. So you have a nice little belly here. You have this. You have this, and then you have this. You see that? Hopefully
And it
you
was a
don't
gap down. I guess that's the thing. It gaps down.
Yeah, and usually from formation like this that they're presenting now, you look at the monthly here. If this picks up volume here, and if it breaks this low here that it's there at 323, man, this can be bad for Microsoft. You on a daily. I mean, you'll get this soon. I'll leave it. You're going to get a bounce here, but I wouldn't be interested for a long-term position off this level. $30 now. Not even here. Like I'm really not interested in Microsoft at 300. It's a good company, but I missed it. If it comes back here, it'll be a good add. Well, not it. Be careful tomorrow. VIX is expiring. They can have a lot of volatility, new volatility in the market, especially if you have Powell, and that's it's the VIX is leveling out and new formation is setting up for it. Man, just be careful. Especially if you're trading options tomorrow. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I have a doctor's around 11:30 with a little guy just to check up. And then once I'm back, I'll hop on with you guys and trade live.
All right, sure. Thank you. How soon to your newborns ready?
I'm sorry.
How soon to your newborns here?
We're baby watching. Any day.
Oh man, any day now?
Yeah, any day.
Good for you, man. All right. Well, have a good night.
See you guys.
Congrats. Good night.
All right.
Bye.
Good luck, Shorty.
My wife and I are watching too much of our watch list. That's what happens.
Good.
See you guys. Bye.
See you.